Mighty Sensei, yeah. No shortcuts. I'm here to give you motivation and a little bit of inspiration. No shortcuts. Me and the boss ain't easy. Every day somebody needs me. It's no shortcuts. I wake up stretched, say a prayer, coffee and then some fresh air. Time to get it poppin'. I got a fresh 24. Hopefully I'm blessed with plenty more. Meanwhile, I'm thankful for the fire on the inside burning. I keep earning as the world keeps turning. The thing about life is you never stop learning. Hoping everybody Maxwell, Vernon. You make a plan, then you stick to it. Even in tough times, get through it. So get to it. And make sure your family's straight. We going worldwide, you understanding me, mate? Providing a platform where like minds can meet. Closed mouths don't get fed, want everybody to eat. On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. Tuesdays at noon, let's all get rich. It's no shortcuts. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the No Shortcut Show. Yes, y'all, and you don't stop. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, nationally, internationally. Today is Tuesday. It is noon Eastern Standard Time, so you know what that means. It is time for another installment, another edition of your hot new internet sensation on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, by the name of the No Shortcut Show. Y'all come on in, say hi as you're coming in, so we can shout you guys out real quick. Today is Tuesday, December 5th, 2023, and we're blessed. We're highly favored. We're glad that you guys have not counted it robbery to come on in and join us during your lunch hour. Let us know what you're having for lunch too. And it is holiday season, so if you're having your spicy apple cider. It's too early for eggnog, huh, Famous?
Spicy. No, it's 12 o'clock. It's 12 o'clock, B.
What they say is 5 o'clock somewhere, maybe for our international spectatorship.
Yeah, it's too early if anybody's in Cali right now.
Yo, definitely too early. We just have the eggs without the nog. You know?
Yeah, don't do that.
Breakfast time. But we're glad to be here, ladies and gentlemen. You guys feel free to, before we proceed, feel free to share this on your individual pages. Hi, Robin.
Hey, Robin, thanks for joining us again.
Tag a couple of friends in the comments, and shout out to Mr. Ken Knox, chairman of the board, band leader. So feel free to share it, ladies and gentlemen. And shout out to our No Shortcuts community over on Facebook, where I think now we're at about 500.
This is a star-studded affair, man. We got Mr. Ken Knox. We got Pam Vincent in here.
Former guest of the platform. Miss Pam Vincent. Mr. Ken Knox, former guest of the platform. I think I saw Mr. James Masters in the comments before we came on the screen. He was a former guest most recently. Yeah. So welcome, guys. We're glad to have you all here. And feel free to put a couple of friends' names in the comments if you know someone you might want to join us today, and feel free to share. The more the merrier is one of our slogans here at No Shortcuts.
Call him on the phone real quick.
Call him on the phone.
I just hit the button on my chair by accident, and I went.
I see you. Yeah, I see you look like you at the barbershop, and
Yo, my foot just hit the thing, and I just.
Yeah, it's okay, man. This is what being live is all about.
Man, this is a live broadcast, man. We don't rehearse it.
Yeah, this is totally unscripted, unrehearsed.
James, you saw that?
Yeah, James, you saw how he just dipped down like he was done getting his hair cut.
Like I was out of here.
He got that fresh baldy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. What's happening though?
Hey, man, ain't much happening. We had a fun-filled weekend. Events all weekend long, man. I had Sunday was actually our wedding anniversary, but we celebrated on Friday. Thank you, because
y'all was at the melting pot, wasn't you?
Yeah, Friday we went out to dinner to the melting pot, and then I had weddings Saturday and Sunday. So that's why we celebrated on Friday.
Yes.
It was cool, man. It was a cool weekend, and then Monday we did the prison ministry at the Kershaw Correctional. and we
Okay.
had we served the Christmas meal. We served 300. It was 300 300 inmates that were able to come in
Oh wow.
two different time slots yesterday to
Okay.
enjoy a Christmas meal that we provided from one of the local restaurants here. Helped us out
That's awesome.
preparing three. There is a robot in the
Is there a
comments.
bot?
There is a bot in the comments.
Now I don't speak that language. I'm
Yeah,
see it right here. We need a translator. You gonna let them
yeah.
stay? What we doing?
I'm gonna see if I can block it. You keep talking, man. How was your weekend? See if I can block it real quick.
my,
The
my
bots
weekend
have
was
made it.
my weekend was pretty good, man. You know, this is in between. Well, I say after Thanksgiving, it's a little bit of a lull in the schedule before the holiday, Christmas parties and things like that
Right.
pick up. But I did. We had the Christmasville event on Sunday. I played at church. Shout out to my folks at Mount Dewell Baptist Church. Played at
Yeah.
church on Sunday, and then we had the Christmasville event, which we had Miss Alice Harden Meeks on last week
Mm-hmm.
promoting the Christmasville event. It was a wonderful event, man. My guys, Mellow Groove, we did a trio performance there along with the Gregory Amos band. Shout out to
Nice.
them. Gregory Amos is a fantastic saxophone player.
Yeah.
So they had it. They had the event was divided up into two halves, I should say. So you had your prepaying
Mm-hmm.
portion. They came at the first couple of hours, and then you had the general admission for the second half, the next couple of hours. But the bands alternated. So both groups of people, admission wise, got a chance to see both outfits play. So we alternated
Nice.
sets. I think we ended up doing about 3 short sets apiece. And they served a wonderful meal. You had a choice of meat, whether it was like orange chicken or beef tenderloin, and they had some mashed potatoes and gravy and broccoli, then mac and cheese, roll, things like that to go with it. Then you had you could pick either sweet tea or lemonade to drink.
Mm-hmm.
So they had the food there for the first half, and then for the second half they had like as Alice referred to, light handhelds. I like to say finger foods, like
Yeah.
the meatballs, wings, and things of that nature for the second half. And it was a wonderful event. They had the rotating photo booth thing. Shout out to
360.
Miss Tanika Crawford. I'm the
Okay.
360. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might post my video in the no shortcuts. I'm debating.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Those are
yeah,
fun.
so the 360 booth, and just different things going on, man. So it was cool for the city of Rock Hill, to have especially for Alice to have an opportunity to put together something to fit. Christmasville is all downtown, but
Right.
for her to have her own event there, that was pretty cool. Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
great time, man.
That's
Had a
good,
great
man.
time. Yeah,
Sounds
but
like
it's
it was a lot of fun.
yeah, it was lots of fun. Lots of fun. We had a great time. And shout out to Vicky Garza. She came out and celebrated her birthday. Her birthday is actually today, but she
Mm-hmm.
came out and wanted Mellow Groove to be a part of her birthday celebration on Sunday. So
Cool.
shout out to her.
Well, happy birthday, Vic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Mom says she wants to see your 360 photo.
Ah, okay, okay. All right, all
Yeah.
right, all
You
right.
should have had that ready. We could have put it on the screen.
Nah, you know how it goes. I was up there by myself. Sometimes it's up, people get up there with another friend or two. So it's up
Yeah.
there by myself, just trying to support, because the young lady who was running it, and we'll probably have her on here soon. She used to be a member of Mount Dewell Baptist
Okay.
church where I play music at. So shout out to again Tanika
Yeah.
Crawford. But she's starting up her own thing, and I told her, she's like, I can't do it yet. My voice, I was like, well, when you get your
Okay.
voice back, there is Alice.
Alice,
We had
what's
a
up?
wonderful time at Christmasville.
I'm glad
We
it
had
was
a
a good
wonderful
event.
time. Yeah, and Alice is a great hostess. We saw her in action. She put all the pieces together from catering,
Mm-hmm.
those who were serving libations, the entertainment, those who were
Yeah.
accepting tickets, and all the other vendors that were there. So yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to Alice. Big
Shout
big
out to
kudos,
Alice
Alice,
for
on putting
sure.
together your first
We hope
Christmasville event.
we hope you all have already booked Alice for your events, because if you already got her booked, you're good to go. But if you book her after last week, the price
The
went up.
rates, yesterday's price is not today's price.
Exactly.
Yeah, but so
Price
before
went
we
up.
proceed, Alice was sharing with us last week, she's got gifts and talents, and she puts
Mm-hmm.
together events, and she's saying, she's definitely going to start as far as making it a business, not just
Yeah.
doing it the love and the labor so much. We
Mm-hmm.
want to put some dollars in her pockets when it comes
Absolutely.
to this. A shout out to her husband, Mr. Minister Roscoe Meeks. But ladies and gentlemen, if you guys need a party planner, please contact Miss Alice Harden Meeks. She's in the comments. And all
Yeah.
of our other entrepreneurs that are with us, shout out to my brother.
What up,
Feel free to
Matthew?
drop your business links in the comments so those who are spectating can check you guys out.
Yeah.
You know,
And
James, do that.
Alice said
Go
that
ahead.
she will do some new referral discounts. Just use the
Hey,
promo code No
no
Shortcuts.
shortcuts. Hey, we thinking of the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, promo code no shortcuts and get your referral
Yeah,
discount, ladies and gentlemen. Do it today.
for sure.
Shout out,
Matthew's in
Matt,
the house.
my
Hey,
brother.
man.
Yeah, what's
Without any further ado,
good?
we have a guest.
We do have a guest, yeah, and he's been patiently waiting. And I know
Yeah.
you guys at home or at work or wherever or in your car have been patiently waiting too. So we're gonna probably get right to it right after we read this.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. You both are getting ready. Hey, I've
Some
cried
happy
on here
tears.
before a few times, Alice. So
true.
don't even worry about it.
That's
They're
true. I'll put that
live
song on. We'll do it on demand.
Don't put that song on today. But ladies and gentlemen, this our special guest for today.
Mhm.
If you remember our Halloween episode with Miss Lauren Ansley, you know, after we signed off, and she recommended a couple of friends to us to have on, and this is one of her friends here, and it's been a pleasure to to interact and to meet him virtually. But he is a videographer as well as a photographer, and he also told me he's just an overall creative,
Yeah.
which means he plays some piano, he sings, he acts, and then we're gonna get into all of that and much more. He's gonna tell you, all about himself. And I'm eager to see, what all he has going on. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise at home while we make some noise on the screen. And please help us welcome Mr. Bobby Kerns Jr.
Hey,
Hello, everybody.
what's
yes,
happening?
yes, y'all. How
Nice
we
to-
feeling
Great to
today?
meet y'all. Hey, I am doing good. I am happy I could be here and happy for the invitation.
Yes, yes.
Glad you're
yes.
able to make it, man. And we talked about it when you first signed on, but you catfished us for sure. We didn't know
I
you
did.
had all that
I
hair.
did. Yeah, if y'all look at the poster,
Yeah.
it's not the same. You know what's funny? I haven't done nothing really to this going
Yeah.
downwards since COVID. So
Yeah.
COVID was just my haircuts are not the most important thing right now. We
Yeah,
all
yeah.
trying to survive, and I just didn't go back. So
Yeah.
this is where we're at now.
Yeah, now see,
Love it.
I was right there where you are before I did the 2-strand twist into the dreadlock. So, so I'm gonna be an advocate for that and at least put it on your radar. Maybe you consider taking the next step into getting the twist.
I've considered. I'm still in the considering phase,
Mhm.
but I'll let you know if I'm swayed.
This is a pressure-free zone here at No Short.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah. But we thank you so much. And I gotta always freeze at least one time every week, and then the lag catches itself up. But
think
we
you're
always
all
like
good.
to ask our guests. We like to start out and ask our guests, where you're from, where you were born and raised, and tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your childhood.
Got it. Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Charlotte, and so
Okay.
born and raised, been here my whole life. And my upbringing, my dad's a pastor, so I'm
Oh,
a
okay. We're right in the
PK.
same book.
Yep, I'm a PK. And I don't know, man. Grew up. My family was obviously Christian, but also kind of on the artistic side. My mom's a singer, my dad's a singer. My dad can draw, so I picked up some of that. I was into computers growing up, but I was into a lot of reading. I read a lot, and so
Yeah.
there was kind of like a mix of a lot of creativity, but not really knowing fully what to do with it. I didn't join choir until high school at my school.
Okay.
But I did theater and stuff too, through
Yeah,
my church and
well-rounded.
stuff like that. So I did a little bit of everything, just trying to figure out where to put that creativity, and then
Right.
eventually I kind of got into some of the stuff that I am now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's rare to meet someone who's actually born in Charlotte.
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
a lot of
people
times
say
when you
that.
in
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of times when
It's
you're
just
in
you and
Charlotte,
Thomas Neal. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
just him and Thomas
Yeah.
Neal, you know.
We're rare.
But so I say that to say this, you know, I spent many years working in that area some years ago in
Mm.
Charlotte, but it's like everybody I met was from up north and they seemed to
Yeah.
migrate down, you know, for the job wise, cost of living, things like that. So, hey, it's a pleasure to actually meet somebody who's actually from Charlotte, you know?
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Everybody journeying down here, but that's fine. That's more business for me. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
There we go.
absolutely, and I want to touch on the fact that your dad's a preacher. You guys, did you have the
Yeah.
multiple church services throughout the week, revivals, vacation Bible schools?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Wednesday
very
prayer
versed
meetings.
Yeah,
in I'm versed in like Sunday is church, just like
yeah,
the day sometimes.
the whole day.
So
Yeah.
that's just how it is. Yeah, growing
Hmm.
up, before my dad was pastoring like his own church, yeah, we were like at a couple different churches where he was like on staff or something like that. And
Yeah,
yeah, no, it's very much so. We got morning service, and then we got a 3 o'clock event, and
yeah,
then they got dinner
yeah,
for this thing, and then somebody died, so he got to go preach this funeral, and then
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it
That's
happens. It still
yeah.
happens sometimes today.
And yeah, sometimes I reminisce with my family, you know, now that we're well, me, you know, because I was a kid back then, but
Mhm.
as we get older, we look back and we're like, how did we do all of that stuff back then,
Mhm.
man? And
Yeah,
and as kids, we'd be
that's
right
it.
there, and we got school the next day
Yeah.
and
Yep.
everything too. But you know, so
Yep.
thank God for those times, you know. But you know, things do change as we evolve, you
Mhm.
know, and things
Oh
like
yeah,
that. So, but so you're familiar with that lifestyle. You
very
have
much so.
any brothers and sisters, or just you?
I have one brother. He's 6 years younger than me, so he is 19, about to turn 20,
Okay.
and yeah, and he's a drummer at church, and I'm our
Uh-huh.
pianist. So I
Okay.
taught him how to play drums, and now he's better than me. But I taught him
Yeah.
like a decade ago, almost like 10,
Wow.
12 years ago. So yeah,
Hmm.
he started pretty young.
Yeah,
Nice.
man, that's awesome. So you started out playing drums before you went to piano. That sounds like me too.
Well, yeah, kind of. So basically, I knew the basics, and I've always wanted to play drums, but
Uh-huh.
I never had drums. And so when we started our church, well, like when our church got planted, it was just me and my parents and my brother,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
so it was us. So it was like, oh, who's praise and worship?
Yeah.
You're looking at it.
You
So
got it.
yeah, so it was we invested in a well we didn't invest. My grandpa had a keyboard that he gave to us, and so
Hmm.
I had to just learn how to play
Yeah.
piano.
Uh-huh.
And it was just was song at a time, and
Yeah.
figuring it out. We singing the same songs every couple
Yeah.
Sundays because those
Right.
are
And
the
after a
songs that
while,
I know.
you get
That's
it.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, taking those chords and applying them to other songs, and like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
kind of getting it. And then
Yeah.
probably after like a year or so, we brought a drum set, and
Hmm.
then I knew the basics, so I taught my brother how to play drums.
Mhm.
And then it was just us two for a while, and then my
Hmm.
dad learned how to play bass guitar, and
Okay.
so now
The
it's three
family
of us
band.
on the instrument. Yes, and then my
Yeah.
mom is basically lead singer along with me. So yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. And what I will say too is just you know, coming up in church gives you an
Hmm.
opportunity, you know, and I may have
It
said this
does.
before, you know, depending on who's speaking in their background as it pertains to mine, but church will
Hmm.
provide an opportunity for you, whatever your skill set happens to be. If my brother's still here in the comments, he started a tambourine group one time. So they would come up with
Oh wow.
everybody had a tambourine and they would come up
Mhm.
with like for lack of a better term, choreography to the thing and under the leg, and
That's
they pass
cool.
it to you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
so so
people be
my
sleeping on
point
the
is,
tambourine.
oh hey, I love to hear the tambourine along with the rest
Yeah,
of the music.
Mhm.
It just gives it
exactly.
a little
Yeah.
it gives it a little bit more little icing to the cake, you know. But church will
Yes.
give you an opportunity whether you can whether it's singing or playing an instrument, you know, whether it be like
Mm.
liturgical dance, you know, just whatever.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
every once in a while, you know, they throw on the Christmas play or the Easter play, so anybody
Yep.
who has any desire to act, you know, you get a chance to do those sort of things. So, you know,
Yeah,
we're
buddy.
thankful, obviously, for the spiritual aspect and, you know, relationship with God aspect for sure. But church
Mm-hmm.
also gives you an opportunity to express yourself from an artistic side.
1000%. Yeah, no, it's really good when you're able to find your passions and stuff through
Yeah.
church, especially like through that lens. But yeah, I mean, I definitely credit the church to like helping me realize like the acting and singing side of things, especially
Hmm.
since if I had waited until after, I probably wouldn't have done it as much
Right.
because once you get older, you realize that stuff don't always make you no money.
You
So,
have to
you
figure out
know,
that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
figure out how to make it translate, and that's why we're here at No
exactly.
Shortcuts, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to
Hmm.
help you turn your passions and your dreams and help that translate
Yeah.
into some
To a
stipends
profit.
for you. You know,
Thousand,
yeah,
yes, thousand
Yeah.
percent. Because it's hard sometimes for like artists. Because I had some friends who, when we graduated high school, they were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to school for like theater. I'm gonna go for this," and I'm
Mhm.
like,
hmm
"That's dangerous."
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
what do you do after?
Yeah.
Like, are you a teacher and that's
uh-huh,
it, or
Right.
do you go to Broadway and just struggle? And I'm like, that
right,
ain't my testimony. I'm so sorry, but that's
yeah,
not me. So yeah, I do definitely think church and like just a lot of like youth, they find like community theaters or
Hmm.
hmm
different stuff like that, and it's like that's a lot of that stuff is really important.
Yeah.
yeah, very, very important. And you mentioned you used to draw as well, and I used to draw a
Yeah,
little bit. I don't draw anymore though, but
me
I
neither.
used to do the same thing, you know. So
Yeah,
I guess,
I used to have a side business when I was in middle school where I would like draw Mario characters.
uh,
I made like a quick book. That was it.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
drew some other stuff a little later in middle school. Like I kind of like tried like the scenic stuff, but
Mhm.
nah, I dropped that by high school. Because when I got into like ninth grade, they were like, you can do art as like an elective, and like you can actually
yeah,
get a grade for it or whatever. And
hmm
I did like a little test run, and I was so slow at drawing, and he was like, I'm not gonna lie, you gotta go faster. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'll do you one better. I'ma just go.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
So was that was that in college when you said art was offered as an elective?
High
no,
school.
that was high school. Yeah, it was
Oh,
ninth
high school.
grade. They were
Okay,
like, you could
it
pick
was
a lane, and
advanced.
so yeah, and
It
so
was a
I was
little
like,
advanced.
I was tempted to do that, but instead I decided to do choir because you only
Okay.
got
Mhm.
one, and I was like, ain't no way I'm gonna be behind everybody all year. I'm like, no, I'm gonna just go to choir, and so I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that says
Yeah.
Facebook user. What up, Midas Top
Top
Soldier?
Soldier.
Okay,
Yeah, hit
how we
that link
doing?
right there, whomever that was. Hit that link,
Yeah, so
ecam.live
your name
slash
can come
connect.
up.
That way we can see your name when
Oh,
you
bet.
comment that way. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
I was in choir in high school too.
Mm-hmm.
When I think I started in either ninth or 10th grade, and it was just a music class that the teacher ended up making a choir out of this music class.
Uh,
And
Mm.
then
yeah.
he found out he had some decent singers in the class. He said, "We just gonna make this the school choir."
Mm.
And
There
then
it
that
is.
led into I was in like all city choir and all that kind of stuff. So I have a little
Yeah.
bit of connection with that choir world. And every time I see like the Macy's parade and all that kind of stuff, it brings me back to those choir boy days.
Yeah. So you wanna
Yeah.
hit a little acapella for us right
Not
fast?
even, not even.
He said,
I
not
was,
even.
you know me, I was backup.
Hey, you know how they say, would you like to sing a solo? Yeah, solo,
Yes.
you can't hear me.
Exactly. I was always, even in like in middle and high school, we all had our little music groups and stuff. I was always the Mike Bivens of the crew.
There you go. Yeah, kind of in the background,
Yeah.
orchestrating.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
Yes.
filling
hey,
in the gap.
somebody got to be
Yeah.
in the back.
I
That's
was
all.
Yeah.
Ronnie DeVoe.
Oh my God. Roddy DeVoe. Somebody was
Yo.
talking about him the other day. But
Yeah.
we digress. We do that sometimes. So, but Bobby, it seems like did you have any other before we proceed into
Mhm.
the rest of your story? Did you have any other like hobbies or things that you were
Mm.
interested in? It seemed like you had a full plate with all of that
Yeah.
going on
Lots of
at an early
Well,
creativity
age.
coming up.
the funny thing is, it seems like I had a full plate based on how I describe it, but I was a very sheltered kid. Since I was a
Mm-hmm.
pastor's kid, I didn't
Hmm.
really do too much, like
Mm-hmm.
other than like specifically the things that I'm talking. Like it was school, it was church, and it was like they'd have like the church plays and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
like the choir stuff on like Wednesdays and
Oh yeah,
Sundays, and
choir
occasionally
rehearsals.
that
Yeah.
would bleed into some of the other stuff. But other than that, like reading was my childhood. Like I read, and that was kind of like my escape because my parents, they were, I love them to death, and they were so protective. But it was just because I was the first one. I was the first child. They were like, ain't nothing gonna happen to this one, and I'm like, I appreciate that. But before, I was just like, what everybody else doing? Why can't I be doing? We ain't doing none of that. None of that. It didn't matter what it was. They were like, you right here, and I'm like, all right, I'm right here. So reading was my biggest thing. They gave me like some award in like 4th grade for like reading the most books in like our grade because they were just like, it's kind of to the point. It's ridiculous. Like I don't know if y'all knew about like AR and like they used to like make you do like the tests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When I was in 6th grade, people had like hopped on this trend of like, we're not gonna read the book, we're just gonna watch the movie that's associated with the book and then go do the test.
Yeah.
And so they would make you go sign up for whatever. Yeah. They make you go sign up for whatever book you was gonna read with the English teacher, and then they give you this little slip, and then you go to the computer lab, and all of that. Well, my English teacher got so tired of me coming back to them every day, they just gave me the slips.
Wow.
So that's how much I read. Of a church kid I was, but I was the honest one.
Yeah, well, reading is fundamental, and I surely did enjoy those free personal pan pizzas from the Book It, y'all.
Boy, let me tell you,
hey, sometimes that's the only way you was gonna get a pizza.
Man, I used to be there all the time. So many of those things. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The Book It Club, I believe it was called, and you read your books. And then you get this, get a slip, I think, for completing, what is it, like 6 books in a month or something, like whatever.
Yeah. I don't even know, but I had them.
Yeah, Pizza Hut used to give you the free personal pan.
We didn't have reading clubs in New York City, man. They just said you can read the school bus sign, the city bus, and how to get there. You good. You graduated. You know how to get here.
That's
go on.
Hey, no, I was there. They knew I was reading.
So Bobby, let me ask you this. So, when you say that you were sheltered, with your parents being a preacher's kid, do you find that your younger brother got it a little bit easier the second time around?
He definitely got it easier, and part of it is because I made it easier for him.
Explain.
So it was it's interesting because we're 6 years apart. So people think I'm older than I am. I'm 25. But so 6 years apart, when I'm in like going into high school, he's still like 4th or 5th grade or something like that. Or he's like 3rd or 4th grade. And so as I'm a perfect example is like we weren't allowed to watch most things that were like had real people in them. We watched mostly animated stuff. That was just the gist of it. So like even to this day, like I didn't see Jurassic Park until I was like a junior or a senior in high school. I still haven't seen like Elf. Like there's huge gaps in my pop culture. And so one of the big things that we weren't allowed to watch was Harry Potter because obviously.
Yeah, you got to protect the kids.
Yeah, it was wild. And the ironic thing is like I couldn't watch Harry Potter, but in high school I was the Cowardly Lion in the Wizard of Oz. And so I was like, we can do the Wizard of Oz, but I can't do Harry Potter. Something like that, no. So I watched all of those movies when I was like a junior or a senior. And then when they leave us at home, sometimes I would show my brother like one of the movies. So we kind of like sneak in some of the pop culture. So I would kind of make sure he got more of like a well-rounded view of like culture, because I get like from a Christian worldview, you kind of want people to believe certain things and understand the world as a parent based on how you see it and based on what you believe is true, and you're trying to help them out and guide them on the right path. But they still gotta know like what Michael Jackson died when I was in 6th grade, and I knew 0 Michael Jackson songs. I didn't even know who Michael Jackson was, and I remember my English teacher being upset, and I was like, cool, I don't know who that is. Like, to that point of like, I don't know anything. And I was like, my brother not gonna grow up like that. So I had to kind of help guide at least a little bit, and help him make his own path. And now he's more well-rounded. So
that's great. And I think and from a parental standpoint, right? You want to try to protect your children to a degree because there's so much out here that could
Yes.
influence them or potentially confuse them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to pick, if just your situation, if you pick being a little sheltered versus just running crazy
Yeah.
and being out
That'll,
here not,
yeah.
so you know, yeah. So
Yep.
we
And so I
stay. So
appreciate, I definitely
yeah,
appreciate what they did. And as a kid, you're like, what are we doing here? But then as an adult, I'm like, oh no, it was crazy out here. Like,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
but
It's
yeah,
wild.
it's kind of hard as you're growing up to get perspective. But I mean, that's life. Life is all about perspective and hindsight.
mm,
So
yeah,
I definitely appreciate everything they did. And I grew up to
yeah,
be who I am. And
yeah.
I like who I am. So
Yeah,
I
and for
appreciate it.
them, and for them, to not even for you not to know who Michael Jackson was, they certainly did their job.
I mean,
Yeah.
I grew up with CC Winans,
Yeah,
Kurt
yeah,
Franklin, Donald
CCBB.
Lawrence.
Yeah,
I could have,
Yeah.
yeah, I could tell you all of their songs, but I didn't know who Taylor Swift was. I didn't know it, like nothing. Like it was
yeah,
wild. So
yeah,
they did their job.
yeah. And now and now as an adult, of course, you know you have the liberty if you wish to discover these things and get more familiar, like you
Exactly.
said, with like the pop culture, some of the movies and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, parents, there's no manual, there's no blueprint. So
1000%. They doing what they can do,
yeah,
and I mean that's just all you can do is do your best.
yeah. So when did you start having a curiosity or an interest for videography and photography and things like that? Around what age were you?
So I was in 11th grade. Well, it was the end of my 10th grade year because I did how our electives work at my high school. In ninth grade, you could do one along with like your regular classes, and then 10th grade you got two, 11th you got three, and then senior you could pretty much just do whatever you wanted, as long as your main classes was taken care of or whatever. And
Yeah.
so ninth grade I did choir. 10th grade I did hold up. Did I? Yeah, okay. Ninth grade I did choir. 10th grade I did choir, and I think it was just choir again. I don't think I
Okay.
had a second one. I might have done like something random or something, but it wasn't like a creative one. And then, but I did on the side, I was able to do like, they had kind of like drama club type stuff.
Yeah.
And the choir teacher was also the drama teacher. So I was kind of able to weasel my way into stuff without actually being in the class. And that was my first like real stage musical, because I had done some stuff like through church, but that wasn't like it wasn't like
open to the
it wasn't
public
like,
and rehearse.
it
And
wasn't musicals that everybody know. It was like, hey, we got this thing that we're doing or whatever. And so 10th grade year we did Sound of Music, and then at the end of that year we kind of like got to go and explore what some of the other stuff was when we were going to sign up for the following year. And the photo room was right beside the choir room. And so I remember walking over there and kind of being like, what y'all doing over here? And they were like, yeah, we're doing stuff for like yearbook. And our school had an online like news website and a newspaper. So we did a lot of stuff. And so I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I don't really know kind of where I fit in all of this, but this kind of seems interesting. And so for my 11th grade year, I joined photojournalism, which was strictly photography, and it was for all of those publications. And then I had really never picked up a real camera. I'd used like my dad's phone, because I didn't have a smartphone until like I think 11th grade or 12th grade. It was rough out here, but we was I was on like one of those sliding phones like that had the actual keyboard. I was holding one of those, and everybody was like, I remember the iPhone, I think it was the iPhone 6 or 7. It was one of the ones that had like it was when they started like doing like the clear backs, like one of the glass backs or something like that. And one of the people in my high school was like, he was rich, like everybody knew he was rich, and he had like the newest iPhone. And I was like, you over there with a phone that costs probably about $1,000. I'm over here with a thing that like is the cousin of the Nokia brick. Like we're not the same, but it was okay. We made it work. But, that was basically my like intro to photography. Was I remember in 8th grade we went to Disney World, and I was taking pictures with my dad's BlackBerry, and that's pretty much what it was. And then cut to 11th grade, they now giving me a camera, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. But the school gave us like let us use cameras, but we didn't actually but we didn't get to take those home all the time or whatever. So they were like, you should probably buy a camera.
Yeah.
And so before the year started, we went to the pawn shop and we bought my first camera for like $40.
Okay.
And it ran off of AA batteries, and it looked like a real camera where, you know, the lenses change and stuff. My lenses did not change. I had one lens. It was built in.
Right.
It was like it was rough out here. But I got some good stuff, and it kind of gave me the intro into figuring out, like, okay, I could actually see myself kind of doing this. And then 12th grade, I was pretty good, and so they put me in charge of like a photo team. So I kind of like got a promotion, whatever that looks like in high school. But I was over like a photo team for our newspaper and our our yearbook. And then I was very much so an overachiever, because I said, like, in high school, your electives, you could pretty much do whatever you want. Well, I was in choir, I was in theater, I was in photojournalism, I was in gospel choir. I played the piano for us. I was in praise band, which was different because I went to a white high school. So gospel choir and praise band, those were different.
So you was in both of them.
Praise. It was different. We had a section. And then
you should have combined them together, came up with something, huh?
They wasn't ready for us. They wasn't ready. So I was in 3 different music groups. I did choir, praise band, and gospel choir. For choir, I was one of, wow, man, that's crazy. When I started in the 9th grade, choir was small, and over the years it kind of grew. And so by 12th grade, we had like maybe 20 people, which was like amazing for us. Yeah. But in 11th grade, we had a shift in teachers, because for 9th and 10th we had the same teacher, and then 11th and 12th. Well, 11th grade, because we got a new teacher, she wasn't as like intense in the music theory and stuff like that, and we just kind of just like, here you go, here's a new teacher, and we were all like, what are we doing? So I don't know if y'all know the group Pentatonics. We did a lot of Pentatonics covers because we could just listen to Pentatonics and pick out the parts. But of course, I was the only black guy, so I was the beatboxer. So you had choir, where I was the beatboxer. You had gospel choir, where I was the pianist and actually like kind of like the choir director, helping everybody. And then you got praise band, where I'm just in the background playing the white people music with the gospel. And then we had the whole full band. So it was very like, I was jumping from like
all over the place. Wow.
But photography and video was mixed in there because on top of all of that, my senior year, I was like, you know, we're doing this photo stuff and I like this. I'm doing this stuff with these like with this group of people that I got, but I'm interested in video. And so I did a music video for our choir. Macy's was having this like contest for, man, I ain't talked about some of this stuff in a long time.
Well, that's great.
Wow. This is like
revisit.
Yeah, but Macy's was having this contest for choirs, and so we did a cover of "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5.
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
I shot a music video.
Who's that?
For us.
Who's Michael Jackson?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I knew who it was at that time. I found it. Yeah. And so that was like my first or second ever music video that I'd ever done, and then I started like some separate like video series on our school's website. I had like a vlog. I was doing whatever I wanted to. They were like, you can pretty much do whatever. Yeah, they were like, you can do whatever you want because nobody asked for this, and you seem really gung-ho to do it. So go for it. Right. So I had a vlog. I had like a man on the street thing because we went to a K through 12 school. So I was like going around asking people the same question in different grades and getting different perspectives. I had like kind of like a news thing where I was like, researching different topics. I was doing all kinds of stuff, and it was stuff nobody asked for, and some people was watching, but it was just like, all right, this is what's going on. And so when I graduated, I kind of had an idea of like, okay, I've tapped into the photo side, I tapped into the video side, I tapped into the music side, tapped into the theater side. What now? And then I threw it all away. Not really, but I threw it all away. I was like, I'm going to go to college for computer programming because I wanted a backup plan.
Now, where did you go to school?
I went to King's College in Charlotte. So I stayed local, but it was interesting because while I was in that program, I realized, I hate this. This is not going to be my job. And so I never got a job in that field. I got the degree, and immediately after, I was hopping on LinkedIn once I graduated because I did a 1.5-year program. I did it real fast. So I have an associate's, So I
Mm-hmm.
graduated high school in 2016. I graduated college in 2017 in December.
Mm,
So it was
okay.
like quick turnaround.
Quick.
And so by January 2018, I'm like, all right, what now? Like, what am I going to do? And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
on LinkedIn and I'm like going 50-50. And I'm like, Lord, it's in your hands. I'm applying to a photo job here. I'm applying to a computer job here. Photo job.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, whatever happens, whoever hires me, that's the
Yeah.
way my life is going to go.
Yeah.
And I got hired for to be like one of the school picture day people
Mm-hmm.
at some job, and that was rough because waking up at 6 a.m. to go take pictures of elementary school kids who don't want their picture taken, that's not a
Mm.
vibe. But I did it
Yeah.
for a little bit. But there's just no creativity in that, and so
Right.
it's very hard to like see that as your long term if you actually have a creative passion for
Yeah.
photography.
Right.
And so a couple months after that, I got hired by, ironically, a guy who used to work at my high school. He had like a photo club, and then he quit. And it was kind of like, where'd he go? Well, he had gone to become one of the biggest wedding photographers in like the nation. He literally, he took his business from like smaller to like giant. And so I was like,
awesome.
oh, bet, that's really cool. And so at that point, it was him and his wife doing a lot of stuff. And they hired me on as like the first employee, but it was kind of like what you imagine an intern to be, but I was getting paid $15 an hour, so it was
paid
great.
internship. That's great.
Yeah, because it was like I didn't really have a set job description. I was kind of just doing a little bit of everything. I was helping edit photos at one point. I was helping edit their podcast. I ran stuff to the mail. I was second shooting on weddings. I was helping. I helped build their online course and like shoot and edit that. Like I literally got to do a little bit of everything. So I did that for like the next 2 years, and then, but over time I was doing my own photography stuff and kind of trying to build my own thing. And so around 2019, like mid 2019, ironically, is probably around when I met Lauren.
Okay, shout out to Lauren. Yeah, Ansley,
Lauren
former
Ansley,
guest.
because let me think. Okay. Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
y'all pulling back.
Are we unpacking? We unpacking a little bit.
Yes. So end of 2018, and this kind of goes back to like reflect my childhood, which is very interesting. End of 2018, one of my friends from college is like, "Hey, I found out about this open mic that happens at this bar," and I was like, okay, bet. Like, and this was back when I was still I wasn't full time for my own photography yet. I was still working for somebody else, but I was doing YouTube at the time. And so I was doing like music and comedy stuff and whatever, like sketches. And so I was trying to figure out like what's still going to be my creative lane. And so he was like, well, first off, he found the Comedy Zone, and we did the Comedy Zone open mic once because I did, a little bit of stand up. And that went okay. And then he was like, okay, I found this other open mic. It was at the Evening Muse. And that was down in Noda. And I was like, I don't know anything about Noda. I sheltered. I've lived my whole life. I literally didn't know anything about Noda.
Very artsy area in Charlotte. Music, comedy, whatever.
The whole thing. And I was like, all right, bet, I guess if we're going. But my parents did not want me to go because the place was a bar. And I was like, y'all are hardcore judging this place, and y'all have no idea. And I mean, at the time, I'm literally like 20 or whatever, but I'm still living at home. And so it was a very still sheltered environment. But I was like, y'all, it's not that deep. Like, it's really not that deep. Like, I'm literally just going to try and see what this is. If I'm doing comedy, if I'm doing music, I don't even know what I'm doing yet. I'm just going to see.
Right.
And
to see what it's about.
It was kind of a big thing, but I was like, because they were like, nah, you really shouldn't go. And I was like, I'm really going. It was a real big tension thing. But ironically, that one decision is genuinely like, I would probably say that's the biggest decision that changed the course of my life. Because
trajectory,
with going there, I was like, oh, this is my first ever open mic. Okay. And I didn't go when I went the first time, I didn't do anything. I just kind of went. I was originally going to do comedy, But then
Right.
after I went, I stayed like the whole night. They had like 20 something acts. It was long. I got there at like 7. They went to like 11:30. I was like, this is long, but I'm very intrigued. This is so cool.
Right.
And I went the next week, and then I kept going. And I never did stand up there. I ended up doing music. And I would just get up and I just do kind of whatever. But then I realized, hey, if I'm trying to do more of this photography thing, here's something perfect to take photos of.
Yes.
So I would go every single week. I would sit front row and I would take photos of all of the acts that I liked. And then I would still get up and perform. And then I would send the photos to
the different artists or whatever.
And then they would promote my photography. And so that's probably one of the first times that I heard Lauren do comedy.
Yeah.
Because this was pre-COVID, so everybody was doing a lot of stuff, and she was still doing Barely Funny at the time.
Barely Funny,
like she still does, but everybody was kind of flowing through the Evening Muse a lot more. But I also met another local comic here, Shane Lane, and I took photos of him, gave him like the photos. We ended up hanging out later, and then cut to the end of 2019. He was now my roommate.
Oh,
so
wow.
Literally, I moved out from my parents, and one of his roommates had moved out, and so it literally worked out. And so literally, if I'd never gone to the Evening Muse, I never would have got a roommate. I never would have gotten to start taking photos in the Charlotte comedy scene or the Charlotte music scene, which is how I ended up doing Lauren's headshots, which is how I did a bunch of comedian headshots. I started doing photos for multiple different like comedy shows that we had in Charlotte. We had Revolt Comedy Show before COVID, and then so I was the photographer for Revolt Comedy Show and for Barely Funny, and then I ended up doing a photos for a comedy show that Shane was hosting, and that same bar was like, hey, we have a like drag bingo night. And I was like, I don't know what drag is. I was like,
you definitely didn't know what that was, because you didn't know who Michael Jackson was.
Yeah, right. We would just step in front, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm here to learn. And so the next night I showed up, and we did. Yeah, and I did photos of that, and little did I know the event that they were doing was raising money for Charlotte Pride. They saw the photos for like the big festival and parade, and they saw the photos, and they were like, "Hey, come be one of our photographers for the Charlotte Pride Festival." And I was like, I just learned what drag was. I just saw comedy for the first time live, a couple months ago.
And Michael Jackson is still settling in.
Man, it was crazy.
You're catching up quick, man.
Yes. And so in 2019, I was one of the main photographers for the Charlotte Pride Festival and
awesome,
parade.
Man.
And so it literally jumped like crazy. And I remember that was August 2019. And so that was one of the big moments that was like, okay, I can go full time for myself. I shouldn't have, because I was not making nearly enough money. I wasn't, but I was at home and I was naive, and I was like, "Nah, we got a little bit of money." And so I was still working for the wedding photography company at the time, but I quit that job and I started trying to do more stuff for me, because I mean that's when I was doing headshots. I was doing some of the comedy show stuff. I was like, okay, if this came, other people might want me to do some other stuff. I was doing a couple of video projects here and there, but I was mostly photo. And so I also had one of my friends, we were sharing he was white, and his family had a lot of money, and they had a big house. And they basically, he was trying to like start producing music and stuff like that. Yeah. And so instead of like making him move out, they gave him his own like mini house out back with like 2 rooms.
Like the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, and I was like, this is kind of crazy. Like, you got your own little spot outside of. I was like, bet.
Yeah.
And so he gave me one of the rooms that was supposed to originally be his bedroom. Because he was like, I really just use the studio side, and I mostly chill over there, so you can have this other side. So I was literally running a makeshift photo studio out of somebody else's house. Yeah. And it was that's just kind of how it was, because I didn't have a space in my house. And I didn't have enough money to rent a space, and so he was like, yeah, like, bet. So we would like work on some stuff together, but I would literally just bring people to these white people's house, and people would get there, and he had like 7 siblings, and one of them was like like it was like from 3 to like he was like 21 or something like that. And so people would get there. I give them the address. People get there and they roll up and they see like white kids playing in the yard, and they be like, "Am I at the right spot?" And I'm like, "Yes,
Oh my
come
God.
on down, come on down." Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
but that's how it started, and so it really progressed from like sharing space with people and doing stuff with like wedding photography all the way until like getting that job and being like, wait, I can kind of do stuff on my own. And so I quit the job. I started focusing on like more of myself full time. I moved out from my parents in November. So I quit my job in August.
Okay.
I moved out from my parents in November. This is all 2019.
Okay.
Can anybody tell me the trivia question? What happened 4 months later? COVID-19,
exactly.
everybody. Yeah. So excellent timing. But but we made it.
No more work.
It was wild because the apartment that I moved into, it was in like student housing area, and so luckily my rent was only $300 because I had 2 other roommates, but we were staying in this decently sized condo, and so I had my own room, I had my own bathroom, and it was a really good setup for like $300. It was kind of actually a steal. It was ridiculous. And so awesome. And like I had my own floor and like my own entrance from outside. It was actually ridiculous. And so I was there for a while, but COVID was really the time where it was like, this is either gonna succeed or it's gonna flop really hard. And luckily it succeeded. I never had to get another job. I kind of just finessed it and figured it out. We had to drop the prices all the way down to $50 a session, and I was doing at-home family shoots. And so it was like, I will come to you because the world says don't go anywhere else. Right. So I will come to you, and you stay in your yard, and we'll do photos, in your yard of your family and all of that stuff, and you'll remember this time. And then slowly restrictions started to get lifted, and that's awesome. That's how, that happened. And now here we are. We just kept riding that wave to different stuff.
Yeah, and that's awesome too. Just to kind of, I guess, recap what you said is basically you took a chance going to the open mic just to kind of fill it out and see what's going on, potentially to get in as comedy, and I can see you still got elements of comedy in you.
Oh yeah, I'm funny.
But either to do comedy or sing or play. But then you found a niche where you came up with the idea. Let me bring my cameras in here and let me when I'm not performing, I can capture everybody else's performance, and you turn that into your business slowly but surely. And it seems along the way provisions were made, and we and God always has a plan. We don't always know how to connect the dots, but the provisions were made for you. Even to have a setup where you could have people invite people through, do some work with them, and then like you said, when COVID came, you had the idea, well, let me go to others and do family shoots, and it sounds like you haven't turned back since then.
No, it's kind of really kept going. And I mean, one of the really cool parts is like stuff has really just grown from that time in 2019. So like flashing forward to like now, I am Charlotte Pride's lead photographer and videographer. Wow. So I do stuff for like their we did some stuff for like their magazine that comes out. I'm their only videographer for their whole festival and parade for like with like 200,000 people out there. Wow. Me and my team are the only people who do it every year because they have other photographers, but I'm the only videographer. And so I've also worked with I've worked with stuff from like Red Bull and McDonald's to some of the bigger organizations to like some national stuff now. So I've really been able to take it from 0 to 100 and
real quick
changing and changing. And that's the thing. It feels real quick sometimes, but then I look back and I'm like, man, I did start just like working for other people and like figuring it out, but it's nice to be able to say that I've only ever had photography related jobs.
Yeah,
that's awesome, that's man. And that was in what was in your heart, obviously,
Exactly. It was like, I'll do this computer stuff if I got to, because my parents were like, get a job. After college, they didn't make me get a job all through college because the program that I was doing was just so fast. They were just like, you don't have time. But as soon as college was over, they were like, all right.
Yeah, it's time to. What's the next step?
Go do it. And so it was like, wow, the fact that I was able to actually find those things and then progress to here, It ain't nothing but God. That's really what
That's it,
Absolutely.
man. That's it.
Absolutely.
And if anybody wants to contact you,
Yeah.
Bobby, how do they contact you, via like website or social media?
Yeah.
Because we would like to potentially be able to to round you up some business from being on our
I
platform.
don't
So
know
if
if we can
anybody,
afford them.
go ahead. What'd you say, famous? Oh,
I don't know
we
if
might.
we can
Yeah, he got
afford
the Pride, the McDonald's, the
Oh, yeah,
Red
you got
Bull.
Red
Nah,
We
Bull.
gotta
so
go
so
look at our
so
bank statements before we hire this
nah,
guy, huh?
nah. So the cool thing is that I still do like a wide variety of stuff. That's the nice part. And
Yeah.
so I still do the family shoots and stuff like that occasionally.
Mhm.
I've actually got right now we're doing Christmas sessions
Yeah.
in studio. So if you are in Charlotte, we're doing those, and those rates are a little lower because they're just mini sessions. So
Yeah.
you come do photos for the holidays. But even still, if you're looking for like creative stuff, like as like a model or a solo or family stuff, or you have a business that needs like rebranding or commercials, we do literally everything. And so my website is just bobbykernsproductions.com. And you can hit us up there, or we're on Instagram and Facebook at Bobby Kerns Productions. You can find us there, and we'll chat about your ideas or whatever. You can see some of the previous stuff we've done. And,
All right.
Yeah.
You want me to
Well,
type
I'm
the other one,
definitely-
famous? On,
I just did it. I just.
Oh, it's
I'm
basically
definitely
your
gonna
name.
be in.
Basically.
Yep.
I'm definitely gonna be in touch, bro, because I'm going to be doing a little rebranding, and and I definitely want to I want to be in touch with you to help with some of that too. So yeah, let's do some work, man. Let's do some work.
Yeah. Famous has
Before,
a hard stop.
one
today.
thing I wanted to say, about your story when you were telling it, it kind of reflects something that we talked about before here with, you getting into photography. It really started with you doing something for free. Because you were just taking pictures of the comedians, and then you just sent it to them and made relationships from that.
1,000%.
And
yes,
no matter what our audience is trying to do, whether it be photography or music or any other business that they're trying to get into, relationships are important. Being accessible and being able to make relationships even when you're not knowing or even thinking about what you're gonna get from it. You were just there like, yo, I love taking pictures. I'm taking pictures of these folks. Look what I did.
Right.
And then just
that's
the
the
authenticity.
most important. That's the most important part, is prioritizing the relationship, especially when you're new at something. I was good at photography, but I had zero experience taking pictures with people on stage outside of like high school stuff. And so if I had prioritized like, I'm not doing nothing for free, these people can pay me and stuff like that, I never would have met my old roommate. And he's one of my best friends now. I never would have met my roommate. I never would have got to move out because I couldn't afford regular rent. I never would have gotten to partner with one of my biggest clients. Now, like, you never know. And so sometimes you got to humble yourself and be like, hey, I'm new in this.
Yeah, just getting your foot in the door.
Yes, get your foot in the door and understand the opportunity, because that's how I got connected with Lauren, which means that's how I got connected with y'all.
Yeah.
Everything builds on itself. So you have to know the right points when it's like, okay, we're gonna do this for free, we're gonna network, and we just gonna be humble, or now it's time to charge people, and like this is that. So 1,000%.
Yeah.
Perfect,
And you said you're just 20. You're just 25. So you're ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
So to speak.
I'm trying to be.
Yeah, and you didn't have to deal with Polaroids. You didn't have to deal with negatives.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Dark rooms.
So you didn't know what they meant. Shake it like a Polaroid picture either, did you?
I genuinely no. I didn't. No. People ask me like all the time. They're like, "Do you shoot on film?" And I'm like, "Nah. If I shot on film, I probably wouldn't."
Yeah, but that's cool, man.
That's too much.
That's the era. That's the era in which you were born in. Us older guys, we can reflect back. My dad had the Polaroid, and then you had photographers back in the day. They actually would develop the negatives and all of that stuff. So
my oldest days are the BlackBerry.
There you go. Yes. That's it. Fair enough, man. Well, we know DJ Famous has a hard stop today at 1, and it's 1 o'clock, man. Is there any? We got to ask you though, Bobby, because we ask everybody. I think I forgot to ask Alice last week, but what would be a bit of advice for someone in our audience that's watching, in our viewership, that may be on the fence, trying to figure out what their next step would be? They might have a gift or a passion, and they're like, I would like to do XYZ. as my career. What would be, but they not sure how to get there. What would be your advice on them taking the next?
My two pieces of advice would be: oftentimes we get caught up in the idea of it, but we don't ever start. Start, because you're never gonna get the answers if you don't start. And then two, keep learning, whether that's finding somebody who can help you or looking things up. There's, especially if it's photography, I would never go to school for photography. I would jump online, because there's tons of resources that are free and paid that will teach you everything you need to know. And especially if you find somebody in your city, your town, partner with somebody and be like, hey, can I just shadow you? Can I come see what you do? Can I help you? Can I shoot some behind the scenes stuff for you, so you're providing value, but at the same time you get to learn. Figure out how to just start and figure out how to keep learning.
Good advice.
That's great advice, man.
Yeah,
I love that. Just get started somehow. Get started.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if Anita Morris is still watching, since she's been a part of our community and participating in our weekly broadcast, she started her own ice cream cart. Anita, if you hear, drop your link. She's in the Tennessee area, but if you're still here, I don't know if she's still here, but drop your link in the chat or drop it in our Shortcuts community, so we can start following and helping her build on that. So that's a success story I wanted to share as far as someone getting started by participating in our platform, took the next step into having her own business. So for sure.
That's very cool. That's
very cool. And I do have one more announcement, and I'm going to bring up this flyer because we talked about Thomas Neal, and he was on the show a few weeks ago.
Yes.
But his Meet Me at the Shop monthly meetup is tonight. Anybody in Charlotte, December 5th, that's tonight, 7 p.m. Got the address on there, 7001 Wallace Road in Charlotte. It's his monthly men's meetup, Meet me at the shop.
The
men get together and talk about stuff and get real with each other, not just saying, hey man, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing all right. He wants to get real and lots of laughter and healing and spirituality at Meet Me at the Shop with our guy Thomas Neal, for sure. Yeah.
Is it going to be Tuesdays every month or what?
I'm not sure. I'm keeping in touch with it so I can help him promote it and get it out there.
I'm gonna try
hopefully
to pop
it would be.
Yeah, I won't be able to tonight. I got a choir practice at church, Bobby. The men's choir.
I felt
you know what I
Tuesday
mean?
night.
Yeah, but we're gonna stay in the loop. But we're gonna let you get on out of here and stay. Actually, after we do our dismissal, our benediction, stay on the line, Bobby.
Oh yeah.
We'll speak to you separately. But ladies and gentlemen, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, however you watch this program, whether you're watching the replay, we thank you guys so much for joining us today. Hopefully you've gotten something that you could take with you and add to it, to whatever it is that you do in whatever industry you may be involved in. We're going to say God bless and say, peace and love to you guys. And we're looking forward to seeing you all.
See you next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, same time, same channel. We thank Mr. Bobby Kerns Jr. one last time for joining us. Famous, any closing words before we get up out of here?
That was it, man. That was great. Make sure you share this so people can watch the replay, tag somebody's name in it, and subscribe to the YouTube at No Shortcut Show.
And join the No Shortcuts community on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. Pam, thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to be in touch. Pam's got some things going on. Pam, drop that flyer and whatever things you got coming up in our No Shortcuts community. We appreciate you guys. We're going to let you guys get on out of here and finish the rest of your day. Much love. God bless. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.